In the quiet coastal town of Cornwall, where misty mornings draped the landscape like a soft grey blanket, Eleanor Wright lived a life defined by quiet determination. At 22, she carried responsibilities far beyond her years. Her small cottage, nestled between weathered stone walls and ancient oak trees, was more than just a home. It was a sanctuary of survival. Eleanor's world revolved around two primary anchors: her job at the local library and her mother, a woman whose strength had been tested by years of chronic illness. Every morning before the town stirred, Eleanor would wake up at dawn. Her routine was precise and loving, preparing her mother's medications, making a simple breakfast of toast and tea, and ensuring everything was perfectly arranged before heading to work. The library where she worked was a humble building, its wooden shelves filled with stories that seemed to whisper tales of hope and resilience. Eleanor found comfort in organizing books, her slender fingers carefully placing each volume in its perfect spot. Her colleagues respected her quiet dedication, recognizing the weight of responsibility she carried on her young shoulders. Photography was Eleanor's secret passion. Tucked away in her small bedroom, she kept an old camera, a treasured inheritance from her late father. It wasn't an expensive model, but to Eleanor, it was a magical tool that captured moments others might simply overlook. During her lunch, breaks and after work, she would secretly capture the town's essence: an elderly fisherman mending his nets, children playing in the narrow streets, the changing light on the rocky coastline. Her mother, Margaret Wright, had been a teacher before, falling ill. Despite her physical limitations, her mind remained sharp and supportive. She would watch Eleanor prepare her photographs, offering gentle encouragement and sharing stories from her own youth. Their relationship was built on mutual respect and deep, unspoken love. Financial struggles were a constant companion. Eleanor's librarian salary was modest, barely covering their basic expenses and her mother's medical treatments. She had long ago abandoned her dreams of pursuing professional photography, believing that practical responsibilities must come first. Every extra penny was carefully saved, every expense meticulously planned. The town itself seemed to embrace Eleanor. Local shopkeepers knew her story and would sometimes slip extra bread or vegetables into her shopping bag. The community understood her silent struggle, respecting her dignity and her commitment to her mother. Evenings were sacred moments for Eleanor. After returning from work, she would sit beside her mother, sorting through her photographs, sharing stories about the day. Her mother's eyes would light up, temporarily forgetting her pain, living vicariously through her daughter's quiet adventures. Eleanor's photographs were more than mere images. They were windows into the soul of her community, capturing moments of genuine human emotion that most people would simply walk past. A torn fishing net, a child's laughter, an old man's weathered hands, each told a story of resilience, of life continuing despite challenges. Her dreams of becoming a professional photographer seemed distant, almost like a beautiful but unreachable horizon. Yet something within her refused to let go completely. During quiet moments, she would imagine exhibitions, her work displayed in galleries, telling stories that mattered. The camera her father had left her was more than an instrument. It was a connection to his memory, a bridge between her current life and the dreams he had once encouraged. Though he had passed away years ago, his spirit seemed to live through Eleanor's persistent hope and quiet strength. Her mother watched her, understanding the dreams that flickered behind her daughter's careful, controlled exterior. She knew Eleanor had sacrificed her personal ambitions to care for her, and this knowledge both brought her joy and broke her heart. As another day ended in their small Cornish cottage, Eleanor sat by the window, her camera beside her, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple. The town slowly settled into its evening rhythm, and she felt a sense of belonging, of purpose. Her life might not have been extraordinary by many standards, but to Eleanor it was a canvas of love, sacrifice, and unspoken dreams. And in that moment, as twilight embraced the town, her quiet struggle seemed beautiful and meaningful. The end. The morning sunlight filtered through the library's dusty windows, casting a warm glow on the rows of carefully arranged books. Eleanor was meticulously organizing a new collection, when Thomas Bennett walked in. He was a local art gallery owner, known for his keen eye and support of emerging local talents. At first, Eleanor didn't notice him. She was focused on her work, her hands moving methodically, arranging books with the same precision she used in her photography. Thomas wandered near the community board where Eleanor had quietly displayed a few of her photographs, candid moments. Captured from around the town, something caught his eye. A photograph of an old fisherman mending his nets, his weathered hands telling a story of decades of hard work. Another image showed children playing in a narrow street, their laughter seeming to jump out of the frame. These weren't just pictures. They were windows into the soul of the community. Thomas approached Eleanor, his footsteps soft against the wooden floor. "These photographs," he said quietly, "they're remarkable." Eleanor turned, surprised. She wasn't used to receiving compliments, especially about her secret passion. "Thank you," she mumbled, a slight blush coloring her cheeks. Thomas explained about a regional photography exhibition coming up, a chance for local artists to showcase their work. The entry would provide a significant cash prize and potential professional opportunities, but Eleanor knew the challenges. The entry fee was expensive. Her mother's medical treatments consumed most of their savings. Professional photography equipment seemed like a distant dream. Her current camera was old, a cherished gift from her father, held together more by love than by technical precision. That evening she shared the news with her mother. Margaret listened carefully, her eyes bright with understanding. "You should try," she said softly. "Your father always believed in your talent." The mention of her late father struck a chord. He had been the one who first put a camera in her hands, who saw the world differently through her eyes. The next few weeks became a whirlwind of careful planning. Eleanor started working extra shifts at the library. She began selling some of her older books, carefully setting aside every spare pound. Her mother helped by managing their household expenses more efficiently, understanding the importance of this opportunity. Local community members began to notice her determination. The bakery owner, knowing her story, offered her some extra work during weekends. The local cafe owner allowed her to display more of her photographs, hoping to help her raise some additional funds. Eleanor's photography captured more than just images. They were stories of resilience, of a small-town spirit. Each photograph represented a moment of human connection, the kind of moments most people would simply walk past without a second glance. Her chosen theme for the exhibition began to take shape. Resilience, a collection that would showcase the strength of her community. Each image told a story of survival, of hope, of continuing despite challenges. The fisherman's weathered hands, the children's innocent laughter, the misty mornings, that promised new beginnings. Thomas Bennett became a quiet mentor. He would visit the library, offering gentle advice, sharing insights about professional photography. He saw something special in Eleanor's work, a raw, genuine emotion that couldn't be manufactured or taught. Her mother became her biggest supporter. Despite her illness, she would sit for hours, helping Eleanor select photographs, offering gentle critiques, sharing stories that inspired new perspectives. Their bond, always strong, became even more profound during these moments. The exhibition entry deadline approached. Eleanor had managed to save just enough for the entry fee. Her old camera would need to be pushed to its limits, but her spirit remained unbroken. She understood that opportunities rarely knock twice, and she was determined to answer this call. As she prepared her collection, Eleanor realized this was more than just a photography exhibition. It was a testament to her journey, to her family's resilience, to the small town that had supported her through countless challenges. The night before the submission, she sat beside her mother, reviewing the photographs. Each image was a piece of her heart, a fragment of her world, waiting to be shared with something larger than their small cottage. "I'm proud of you," her mother whispered, squeezing her hand. And in that moment, Eleanor knew that regardless of the exhibition's outcome, she had already achieved something remarkable. The end. The small Cornish town buzzed with an unusual energy. Eleanor's photographs had sparked something unexpected, a community movement of support and hope. Margaret, the local bakery owner, became Eleanor's first and most passionate supporter. She cleared a small wall in her bakery, displaying Eleanor's photographs where customers could see them while enjoying their morning tea and fresh bread. Word spread quickly. The town's residents, who had known Eleanor since childhood, began to see her differently. She was no longer just the quiet librarian who cared for her sick mother. She was an artist with a vision. People started dropping by the bakery, not just for bread, but to look at her photographs and leave small donations. Old Tom, the retired fisherman whose weathered hands Eleanor had captured so beautifully, became an unexpected champion of her cause. He would sit in the bakery telling stories about the photographs, explaining to anyone who would listen how Eleanor had captured the true spirit of their community. The local church group, led by Reverend Williams, organized a small fundraising event. They arranged a community dinner, with each family bringing a dish to share. The entry fee was a small donation towards Eleanor's exhibition costs. The church hall was packed that evening, with people talking, laughing, and examining Eleanor's photographs displayed around the room. Eleanor felt overwhelmed. She had always been quiet, always kept to herself. Suddenly, the entire town seemed to be rallying around her dream. Her mother watched with pride, understanding the significance of this moment. Each donation, each word of encouragement, was more than just financial support. It was a community embracing one of their own. The local school became involved too. Eleanor's old teachers remembered her as a shy but talented student. They invited her to speak to the photography club, sharing her journey and inspiring young students. Children began looking at their town differently, seeing the beauty in everyday moments that Eleanor had captured. At the library, her colleagues started helping too. They created a small display of her work, encouraging visitors to learn about the upcoming exhibition. The librarian, an older woman who had known Eleanor for years, shared stories about her dedication and passion. Social media played an unexpected role. Someone posted about Eleanor's story online, and suddenly people from neighboring towns began sending messages of support. Small donations started coming in from unexpected places. A construction worker from Plymouth, a retired teacher from Bristol. People who were touched by her story of resilience. Eleanor's mother became her biggest source of strength. Despite her illness, she would sit for hours, helping Eleanor prepare her photographs, offering gentle advice, sharing stories that added depth to each image. Their bond, always strong, became even more profound during these moments of preparation. The local newspaper ran a small story about Eleanor. They highlighted her journey, a young woman caring for her sick mother while pursuing her passion for photography. The article touched many hearts, bringing even more support from the community. Some local businesses began offering practical help. The camera shop offered to clean and service her old camera for free. A local printing shop agreed to help her create exhibition-quality prints at a reduced cost. Each gesture was a testament to the town's belief in her potential. Eleanor's photographs began to tell a larger story, not just of their town, but of human resilience. Each image captured moments of joy, struggle, hope, and connection. The fisherman mending his nets, children playing in narrow streets, elderly couples holding hands. These were more than just pictures. They were a celebration of life. As the exhibition date approached, the town's excitement grew. People would stop Eleanor on the street, wish her luck, share words of encouragement. The shy librarian had become a symbol of hope for her community. Her mother watched all of this with quiet pride. She understood that this was more than just a photography exhibition. It was a community coming together, supporting one of their own, believing in the power of dreams. The night before the final submission, Eleanor sat with her mother, reviewing the photographs. Each image was a piece of their journey, a fragment of their world. The support they had received was more valuable than any prize or recognition. "We did this together," her mother whispered, squeezing her hand. And in that moment, Eleanor knew that she was never truly alone. The end. The exhibition hall hummed with nervous energy. Photographs lined the pristine white walls, telling stories of a small Cornish town through Eleanor's lens. Thomas Bennett stood near her collection, watching visitors move between her images with hushed conversations and quiet admiration. Eleanor arrived wearing a simple blue dress, her hands slightly trembling. Her mother, Margaret, sat in a wheelchair. Near the entrance, her eyes filled with pride and hope. The room felt different, charged with an electricity of potential and possibility. The first group of visitors stopped at Eleanor's collection titled Resilience. A photograph of an old fisherman's hands caught their attention, weathered, cracked, telling stories of decades of hard work. Another image showed children playing in a narrow street, their laughter seemingly jumping out of the frame. Thomas approached Eleanor quietly. "Your work is extraordinary," he whispered. "These aren't just photographs, these are stories of human spirit." His words meant more than any praise she had ever received. For the first time, Eleanor felt seen, truly seen. Judges moved carefully through the exhibition, studying each photograph with professional scrutiny. They whispered among themselves, occasionally pointing and discussing Eleanor's unique perspective. Her images were different. They captured something raw and genuine about human experience. A distinguished-looking woman with silver hair stopped longest at Eleanor's collection. She was a renowned photography curator from London, visiting the regional exhibition. Her discerning eye studied each image, understanding the depth behind Eleanor's work. As the evening progressed, something magical happened. People weren't just looking at photographs, they were experiencing stories. An elderly couple held hands, remembering their own journey while looking at Eleanor's images. Young students discussed the technical brilliance of her compositions. When the awards were announced, Eleanor's heart raced. She had prepared herself for disappointment, believing her dreams were too big for reality. But sometimes life has different plans. "The Special Recognition Award for Exceptional Storytelling goes to Eleanor Wright," the announcer declared. The room erupted in applause, Margaret's eyes filled with tears. Thomas Bennett smiled proudly, knowing he had recognized something special in her work months ago. The award came with unexpected benefits: a mentorship program in London, potential publication in a professional photography magazine, and a cash prize that could change everything. More than the material rewards, it was the validation that meant everything. The silver-haired curator approached Eleanor after the ceremony. "Your work tells stories most photographers spend years trying to capture," she said. "Would you be interested in a workshop in London?" Eleanor could hardly believe what was happening. Her hands, which had always been careful and controlled, now shook with excitement. Her quiet life in the small Cornish town was about to transform. Her mother's support had been the foundation of this moment. Every sacrifice, every difficult day of caring for her, had led to this breakthrough. Margaret represented the true meaning of resilience, supporting dreams even when personal challenges seemed overwhelming. Local community members who had supported her journey were also present. The bakery owner, the church group, the librarian, they all watched with pride, understanding that this moment belonged to all of them. Thomas Bennett pulled Eleanor aside. "This is just the beginning," he said. "Your perspective is unique. You see beauty where others see ordinary moments." His mentorship had been crucial in helping her believe in herself. The photographs told more than visual stories. They represented hope, struggle, connection, and the extraordinary found in ordinary moments. Each image was a testament to human resilience, to the power of perseverance. As the evening concluded, Eleanor realized this wasn't just a personal victory. It was a victory for her mother, for her small town, for everyone who had believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself. Standing in the exhibition hall, surrounded by her work, Eleanor understood that dreams don't just happen. They are carefully crafted, supported by love, nurtured by community, and pursued with unwavering determination. Her journey was proof that extraordinary stories often begin in the most ordinary places. The end 6 months after the exhibition, Eleanor's life had transformed in ways she never imagined. The regional magazine had offered her a part-time photography assignment, documenting stories of rural communities across Cornwall. Her small income had increased, bringing much-needed financial stability to her family. Her mother's medical treatments became more manageable. The additional income meant better health care, more comfortable living conditions, and less daily stress. Margaret watched her daughter's growth with quiet pride, understanding the journey they had shared. The London workshop had been a turning point. Professional photographers praised Eleanor's unique perspective, her ability to capture human emotions in their most raw and genuine form. Her collection, Resilience, had become a talking point in photography circles, representing something more than just visual art. Thomas Bennett continued mentoring her, introducing her to professional networks. He saw something special in Eleanor, not just talent, but a genuine ability to tell stories through her lens. Weekly phone calls and occasional meetings helped her navigate the professional photography world. Her first major assignment came unexpectedly. The magazine wanted her to document the changing landscape of coastal communities, their struggles, hopes, and daily lives. Eleanor would travel to different towns, capturing stories similar to her own small community. The camera her father had left her remained her most treasured possession. Though she now had professional equipment, she often used the old camera, believing it carried some magical storytelling ability. Each photograph seemed to breathe with memories and emotions, local. Community members continued supporting her. The bakery owner still displayed her photographs, now with a sense of pride. Old Tom, the fisherman, would tell everyone about their local photography star whenever someone visited the bakery. Eleanor's work began telling broader stories. Her photographs weren't just about capturing moments, they were about understanding human experiences. She documented elderly couples' love stories, children's dreams, fishermen's struggles, and community resilience. The regional magazine loved her approach. Her images were different. They didn't just show scenes, they told complete narratives. Editors praised her ability to find extraordinary stories in ordinary moments. Her mother became her greatest supporter and critic. During evening discussions, Margaret would share insights, helping Eleanor understand deeper emotional layers in her photographs. Their bond, always strong, became even more profound through this shared passion. Financial stability allowed Eleanor to think about bigger dreams. She started considering a professional photography course, something she would have considered impossible just a year ago. Her world was expanding, one photograph at a time. The London curator who had recognized her talent at the exhibition recommended her work to national photography platforms. Slowly, Eleanor was making her mark in the professional photography world. Her shy nature remained, but she was learning to speak about her work with confidence. Photography had become more than a passion. It was her language of expressing human experiences. Community workshops became another avenue. Eleanor started teaching young students about storytelling through photography, sharing her journey of transformation. Her story inspired many young artists in her small town. The additional income meant she could also support her mother better. Medical treatments became less stressful, living conditions improved. Their tiny cottage, once a symbol of struggle, now represented hope and possibility. Eleanor's photographs started appearing in national magazines. Each publication was a validation of her journey, from a quiet librarian to a recognized storyteller. Her unique perspective of capturing human emotions set her apart from traditional photographers. Thomas Bennett watched her growth with professional pride. He had seen potential in her when no one else did. Now, Eleanor was proving that talent, when nurtured with support and determination, could transform lives. Her collection continued growing. Each photograph was a testimony to human resilience, to the beauty found in everyday moments. She was no longer just capturing images. She was preserving human stories. As another year passed, Eleanor understood that her journey was about more than photography. It was about hope, about believing in oneself, about the power of community support. Standing in their small cottage, looking at her growing collection of photographs, Eleanor realized that her greatest photograph was the story of her own life, a narrative of resilience, love, and unexpected possibilities. Her mother smiled, understanding that some dreams take time, but with patience and support, they always find their way. The end.